Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the 10 strangest knives in my collection. I have only ever done this format in YouTube Shorts, so I thought it would be really fun to do, a longer version of it where I kind of go into detail. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Each knife has at least one really unique or strange element that sets it apart from your everyday folding, cutting apparatus. So that's pretty much the criteria. Anything that is actually available, I will link right down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Starting off here with number 10, it's a knife you guys have definitely seen before, but absolutely deserving of a spot on this list. This gigantic, hulking freak beast of a knife is the Midgard Messer carbine rifle knife. God, that's a lot to say. What on earth is going on with this? Why do they call it that? This actually has this weird bolt action lock that slides across the spine of the handle, and it actually goes into a hole on the blade. You can see this spike that comes out. That hole, for some reason, goes all the way through. But this is a secondary lock. This thing actually has 3 different locks. You can lock it down here. You have the frame lock, and then you can put in another totally unnecessary lock, this pin lock here, which essentially creates 3 different stopping points for the blade. Necessary? No. Weird? Definitely. This is the only time I've ever seen. I mean, Midgard Messer definitely has unnecessary locking systems on most of their models, but this is absolutely overkill. Couple that with the fact that it's just hulking thick titanium, and I think this is CPM D2. I think these are actually available as well. So again, I'll make sure this guy's linked down in the description. Really just bizarre. I love it though. It's one of my favorite overbuilt knives for sure. Moving on here, another one that you guys are probably pretty familiar with. Number 9, that's the Reich Lamella. On top of the fact that it just has a super striking appearance, I'm actually a little bit nervous with this one. This is the one that got me really good. I had stitches in 2 fingers because of this guy. Well, one finger got glued and the other one got stitches. This has a super striking appearance, no hardware or anything like that. It's got this sheathed proprietary construction where you actually release the handle via a latch back here, and then this darker piece actually unsheathes from the frame, which is absolutely something that I have never seen before. Reich / Ketchuo / freaking, there's like 2 or 3 other names attached to them. They are definitely doing some of the weirdest construction when it comes to knives now in 2023. This is just bizarre, and it honestly looks like it came from some point in the future. I mean, it really doesn't look like anything else on the market, and I really appreciate it for that. Very curvy, right? M390 in titanium. Just a really bizarre but very beautiful knife. Moving on here, number 8, and this is, again, another knife that I think many of you will be familiar with. If you haven't seen this, here's another one. I think the common theme here is they're all a little bit dangerous. This is the the Riyat, and I think they go by Exoskeleton. It's the Riyat XOK Morphing Karambit. I will do this one time on camera because just general probability, the more that I do it, the more likely I am to hurt myself. Nope. We got to try again. Whip it out. Whip it backward. That's all I'm going to give you. I'm not going to do it again. I'm sitting in an awkward place. This thing has already bit me once. It comes with a trainer, thank God. It comes with a trainer so you can kind of learn, but the idea here is that you're pushing the button and sort of whipping the thing out with enough velocity to get that freaking death scythe raptor talon thing to come out, and then you need to whip it back around so that it comes it comes around here and doesn't get your hand. The problem here is that if this thing does not come all the way out, then it comes right through here, takes a little Mario Kart shortcut right into your palm, which is really not fun. I got myself once there, but it is super cool and just absolutely bizarre. This guy is aluminum and N690. Exoskeleton definitely does, like they are kind of into the morphing thing. They did the gravity knives through Riyat, and while this one is dangerous and definitely makes me a little nervous, it certainly is unique. Number 7, a max ace dragon. How can I not include this thing? This is the most luxurious gas station knife on the planet. I'll go ahead and say it before everybody else does. No, that's not a unique thought. Yes, every single person on the entire planet said that as soon as this thing came into existence. What is the purpose of the blade? Nothing. It's literally just the designer going, hey, let's make a dragon wing blade or a bat wing blade, right? Instead of teeny tiny little serrations, let's make them huge for no reason. Believe it or not, this type of thing is super commonplace in the knife world and has been taking place for decades, where people just sort of go, I want to do something absolutely bizarre and not make it practical at all, just for fun. And I'm really glad that they do. The funny thing here is that this has a beautiful orange peel texturing, zirconium pivot, Damascus pivot collars, titanium hardware, titanium backspacer, Damascus pocket clip, and then an M390 blade. Will it cut? Will it slice? It will, but it's not going to make your life easy. This thing is bizarre just because the blade is freaking weird. I've never, outside of humorous gas station knives that are intentionally designed to draw the attention of people who don't know any better, this thing, ironically, is the exact opposite. It's meant to attract people who absolutely know better and think it's funny just because it exists. Wildly expensive knife. I honestly don't even know if it's still available. Number 6, another knife that many of you have seen on my channel before, and that's the Reate T1000 with, I'm not really sure what we call this, the Frankenstein lock. Look, that's what I'm gonna call it. The way that you disengage is you slide this, it looks like part of the backspacer. It's an independent switch. You slide it forward and it pushes those 2 bolts back out. With that, you could totally ignore that those things are there and this thing operates like a normal frame lock. I say normal, it's obviously massively overbuilt. I think it's got close to a 1/4 inch blade steel there. CPM 3V. This is titanium, and this was the Crane's Cutlery exclusive in Zircotai. I don't know if you can see in there. Mine's number 24 of 30. They only made 30 of these, I think, even before the standard T1000s have even come out yet. At some point, the T1000, the standard version of it, will come out. It's still going to be crazy expensive. But I've never seen a locking system like this. I've seen locking systems that operate with a slide feature on the spine, kind of like the Shark Lock or the Super Lock from, Snex. Or is that what he calls it? I can't remember. It's just really weird. It's so weird to have these 2 little buttons that you can click in and then disengage with that little switch on the spine. Necessary? No. Strange? Yes. Moving on here, number 5, another one that I think many of you will be familiar with, but some won't, and that's the Winter Blade Co. Factor. What's so weird about that one? It's one of the only knives on the planet that operates via magnetism. Both this little guy right here, which is actually what you utilize to push the blade into the second magnetic release. I guess you can see this little magnet right here. Sucks that thing in there and keeps it down, and you're definitely going to want that because you don't want to be pushing on that exposed blade. But you push in here, and it throws the blade into its secondary sort of magnetic pull. There's another magnet inside here. You can kind of see it right there attached to the switch, and then it throws the blade out into the open position. Disengaging this little bar right here, which you can kind of hear it tinging. That's the magnetic ting that we've all come to know and love. You can release the blade and swing it back into the closed position, and then the magnet actually holds the blade in place. So we're using the energy that's created from the magnets to both throw and disengage. Well, not disengage, but throw the blade and actually hold the blade into the closed position. This is wonderful, and this knife has become insanely popular. Not just because of people like me or the other people on YouTube and social media that have blown it up, but just because it is wildly different. Brian Winters of Winter Blade Co. has no shortage of absolutely freaking wizard level designs. This is level 1 of his crazy wizardry. We're all about to see some of the weirdest stuff come out of the Winter Blade Co. factory, or the mind of Brian Winters here in the coming months and years for sure. Number 4. The Reich, and there's a whole bunch of other names attached to it, and I'll get it right when I do the review. The Cybertrix, another freaking just absolutely bizarre. Yeah, it looks like the Cybertruck. It definitely does. I mean, it looks like any number of like future retro. It's that's the best way I can describe it, is future retro. It has a look that is so distinct. Nothing else on the market looks like this except for some of the other weird creations that have come out of Reich. There are a couple of different versions of this, a couple of different blade shapes, right? A lot of people look at this and go, I can't stand the look of it, but it certainly is weird. I'm kind of in the same boat. I can't decide if I like how it looks or not. It also has a proprietary disassembly and reassembly process, which is really weird. I mean, they really went above and beyond with this thing. This is expensive. But I think understandably, a lot of people will look at this and go, it's just titanium and M390. That's what you sound like when you say that, by the way, in my head, because that's a stupid thing to reduce it to. This obviously has a lot more going on. It's not just the milling lines, not just the design, but if we're talking about a totally proprietary disassembly process, they have to actually engineer and machine it to work perfectly and have perfect tolerances. Like that's going to somehow cost the same as just two pieces of titanium slapped together with a couple of standoffs and some, freaking lazy drop point M390 blade attached to it. Of course it won't. Now, do I think it's really worth the money? I don't know. You kind of have to really like the design. I mean, it's no question to me that it actually takes more to make something like this. No question. That should be obvious. But is it worth that much? Yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys look up the price. That's going to be up to the buyers. I think this is sold out, so maybe that question has already been answered. Certainly one of the strangest in my collection. Number 3, I cannot pronounce this. This is the CMP made knives Kawanagare. I think, did I get it right? I have no idea. Kawanonagare is what I have written down. That could actually be incorrect. I bet you can probably guess the weird element here. It's the fact that we've got a little Cree blade. Cold Steel did that on it. I know, but it's still not something that we see super often. I mean, it's something that we don't see hardly at all. It's also, I mean, if we're going to compare this to Cold Steel, this has been done so unbelievably well. The blade is perfect. Literally, the cutting bevel is completely and totally even all the way out to the edge. The fuller actually follows at the same spacing on either side and comes to that divider line, which also curves right out to the tip of the blade. I can almost guarantee you that there's not a Cold Steel in existence, even, speaking of the ones that have the same style blades, that have exactly that level of precision. This is Chinese manufacturing, like ultra precision Chinese manufacturing, and they've done it really, really well. They also made it a folding titanium frame lock with some cool, I don't know if we call this like blizzard fat carbon fiber or whatever, that's like the black and white. But outside of the awkwardness of it being a front flipper that has a squiggly wiggly, almost sort of like robot poop blade, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it doesn't, I can't say that this is a practical knife, right? Ask Jafar from freaking Aladdin, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing that he likes to carry right before he betrays you. But it's obviously some sort of weapon, right? But I think this is more just the designer going, look at this, we can actually turn this into a premium titanium frame lock, and they obviously did it. Really, really neat. Moving on here to, it has to be number 2, because the second to last that I have in order. This is the Serge Panchenko production coin claw, which is, that's the right name for this. That's what it looks like. It's a little tiny titanium frame lock coin claw thing. This is the production version. There are custom versions. I wish I could say that the coin claws are still available. Every time I show this thing, there's people always asking, where do I get that? Where do I get that? I'll try to link it. I don't think these are available. This is not like a do-it-all kind of blade, obviously. It's got a little hawkbill blade. It does lock out, and it is, unless you push on it, you obviously can't push to disengage it. Oh no, it is. I never knew this. I'm wrong. This is double detent. That's all it is. You can see it right there. How stupid of me. Don't tell people it locks. This is double detent. That's what the ball is there for. So it is meant to disengage if you push on it. This is not a frame lock. You can see there that this actually does not contact any sort of tang. So it is meant simply as a detent ball that falls into a detent hole and gives that sort of snap, meaning it's open, right? And then you close it, and there's a secondary, it's not even a secondary detent, it's the same detent ball that slides into a second hole on the blade. This is meant for simple, like the simplest of cutting tasks, opening letters, opening light packaging, things like that. I'm not sure that there's a super comfortable way to hold this, but it will work, and it is sharp. It's just weird because it is a coin, right? You could flip it, right? As long as that thing doesn't come flying out and you smack it into your hand, right? One-way ticket to the emergency room. I don't think it will. I think it'd take quite a bit to flip that blade out of there. Honestly, that detent is definitely holding it. You can see right here. Holds it in place pretty well. So really weird. Obviously something that came out of the mind of Serge Panchenko. I think we probably could do a whole video on just his stuff, but this is limited to the knives that I own. And then finally, the number one weirdest knife in my collection, and it's kind of cheating because I don't know that you can really call this a knife, and that's going to be the Katsu FS01 Folding, what are they? I can't remember what they call it. Kama? Is that what it's called? Right? Somebody down below will pretend that they're a historian, but in reality, they just Googled what they just copied and pasted what they found on Google, and that's fine. You can all learn about it down there with the Ninja Master Level 100 guys. But yeah, it is legitimately a folding hand scythe that operates on an axis lock. That's weird. There's no use for this. Absolutely no use whatsoever for me or anybody else, right? Will it serve as a combat apparatus? I mean, yeah, I guess if I was like being approached by a foe and I was like, oh man, it's about to go down. What do I have within reach? If this was the only thing, would I be happy? Well, sure. I guess it's better than nothing, right? I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to use this. Obviously, pokey end goes first, right? I mean, it's general rule of thumb. I think I can figure that much out. Fortunately, as long as you're holding down here, there is no chance of the blade folding down on your fingers. There's a distinct area right here where it locks you in and says, don't go any further, because if the blade does disengage on impact, which honestly, I'm almost certain a hard enough impact will do that, right? It's a super robust axis style lock, but you know, in the event that it does close, you obviously want to be back here. There is no reason to hold it up here. That's really stupid. It almost suggests that you could, but I would say don't do that. We have carbon fiber G10. This one's in D2, but I've heard some people say they come in SLD Magic, which is still a really strange super steel to me. I don't know a lot about it. This thing is really expensive, and I would venture to guess the vast majority of people who want to own this simply want to own it because it is super weird, and I don't blame them. It honestly is pretty cool. And, you know, again, you know, to add to that, if I'm being super honest, whipping the thing out has an incredibly satisfying, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's the little boy in me who likes silly stuff like this. Flea market ninja weapons, right? It's that, but it's made in a premium way. So really, really fun. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a different format for me. I like to do strange and different kind of unique top 10 stuff. I've kind of been exploring that more lately. So if you really enjoyed this or you like this format, you want to see other things like this, you want me to do other top 10 weird stuff, let me know down in the comments section. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.